New day. What is today? Today is 14 January, year of our Lord, 2025. 25. Sounds crazy. We're going to start a new semester at the University of Houston, the Bauer College of Business. This is Personal Finance, and I am Jim Munchback. I'll be your guide. If you're not in the Zoom room, if you're a student at the University of Houston and you signed up for the course, Personal Finance with Jim Munchback, this is the weekly Zoom meeting. So we're going to get started here quickly. Typically, I don't get started until 5 minutes after, because those of you who want to be part of the Zoom room, in the live Zoom, I want to give you a chance to get here. You do not have to be at the Zoom meeting, but you do need to watch the Zoom meeting. So this Zoom meeting will be posted to our playlist. So I will get started in just a minute. By the way, the playlist, this is being live streamed at the moment to YouTube, Facebook, X, LinkedIn. So if you're joining us on any of those platforms, welcome. And if you're a student and you want to join in the Zoom room, you can go to uhzoom.com. It should take you to this. So we're going to get started in just a minute. I am going to kind of cover a few things. First of all, let me just show you the list that we have for today's live stream lecture. I'll jump into I won't spend a lot of time on any of these topics, but I do want to spend a few minutes and give you a good overview of the course and help you really understand what to expect this semester. And mostly, my number one objective always on day one is to help you feel confident, not only about what you're going to learn and what the course is about, but I want you to feel confident about your ability to earn an A in the course. I know that's very important to most of the students. And so if you want to do that, if you want to if you want to earn an A in the course, these Zoom meetings, these lectures are really designed to help you do that. I'll help you focus on the things you need to do to earn an A in the course. And over the semester, I'll help you learn the things that I think you came here to learn. I hope you came here to learn. So we'll talk about the big idea, the 3 laws of personal finance. We'll talk a little bit about what is a financial plan. At the end, we'll do some questions and answers. So if you're live in the Zoom room, you always get to ask questions. And so I'm always looking over at the Zoom chat to see if you have a question. So feel free to chat in if you do have a question. Let's see what else we've got. Part 2, some housekeeping. I'm going to give you some things that will help you this semester, kind of resources that you'll need to know about in order to function efficiently in the course. So we will talk about those things for a minute. And then finally, we won't spend a lot of time on the review. You have 12 basic assignments this semester, and they're listed on the screen. So if you want to take a screenshot, or you can just go into Canvas and you'll see these assignments posted in Canvas on the syllabus. And so we'll talk a little bit about these assignments briefly, just to give you kind of an overview, kind of what to expect and what is the purpose of each of those assignments. So I am today, it's kind of chilly in Houston, and I'm sitting in my studio. This is where I typically like to be when I teach, because we're live streaming. So you can see we have lots of technology, including this button that I like to push that takes us from scene to scene. So hopefully it helps make the content a little bit more interesting. Although I got to tell you, day one is like orientation, and it's kind of boring. Orientation seems kind of boring to me. So this is, let me just jump into, I want to cover something real quick. You probably have already checked out, this is in the syllabus, you've already checked out moneystudygroup.com. It just gives you an overview of the course. I want you to, there's a little video there, but mainly it just encourages you to kind of think about enrolling in the online course. If you haven't done that, you will need to do that. So you're already enrolled in the course, but there's an online component where you will have access to all of the technology that you'll need to earn an A in the course. So this is kind of like used to be, you would buy a textbook. And for many years when teaching this course, we used Dave Ramsey's college material. That was about $125. So we've made this, tried to make this a discounted package, but it includes everything. So if you go to moneystudygroup.com, you'll find the links to, first of all, you just get a little bit more understanding of what's going on with the course, the online portal. So that's one thing. Just check that out if you haven't already. Moneystudygroup.com. And let me just jump back into, I want to talk a little bit about the big idea of the course. And looks like I've got some folks coming in. Kendall, welcome to the Zoom room. So I want to talk a little bit about the big idea of the course. If you've looked at the syllabus, you've seen that the big idea, the goal of the course is to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. That's my goal for you. Now, I'm going to ask you over the course of this semester, in the next week or so, to think about what are your goals for this course. I'm sure that every course you take, there's some educational objectives. Hopefully there's some very clear educational objectives in this course. But the big idea, the big goal is to teach you, this is my goal, to teach you how to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. Hold on, I have to turn my heater off. I have a little heater going because it's chilly outside and I'm cooking now. Sorry about that. So I want you to just know that this course was designed with very clear educational outcomes or objectives, but they all connect to the one big idea that I hope to teach you. My goal for you is that you learn what you need to learn to manage your money in such a way that by the time you're 50, you will be a millionaire. Now, typically at this point, if we were together, if we were in the class together, I would just pause and I always look around the room to see if there's any puzzled looks on your face. But I can't do that right now because in the Zoom room, you don't like to share your cameras, and this is an online asynchronous course. You don't even have to be at the Zoom meeting. You can watch this live stream later or during the live stream. So I can't look you in the eyes. I can't get a sense of whether or not you're tracking with what I'm saying, but whenever we were together back in the day before COVID, when I would say what the big idea of the course is, I would always have at least one student who would have that look on his face or her face. It's like, well, that sounds good, but the question would be, have you done that? Did you become a millionaire by the time you were 50? Because that's what you're saying you're going to teach us how to do. So have you done that yourself? And the answer to that question is yes. And that's something that I want you to know, is that I'm not trying to teach you something that I haven't done myself, that I don't know how to do. I've been a certified financial planner for many years. But I learned the things that I'm going to teach you about managing money. I learned along the way, and they're not that technical. The things that I'm going to teach you are very basic, very practical, and they may surprise you to know that the process, the steps, the disciplines, the things that you'll need to do to actually become wealthy or to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. Those things are not technical, they're not difficult. Everyone can learn them. And because my assumption is that you're a student in a business college at the University of Houston, the Bauer College of Business, that's who sponsors this course. My assumption is that because you're a student and you're going to earn a college degree and you're going to be very likely to get a job in the business world, that you're going to earn enough money so that this goal of becoming a millionaire by the time you're 50 is not a difficult goal. It's not a difficult, challenging, super high goal. It may sound like it to you right now, but it's not. Okay, by the time you're 50, $1 million is not going to be a huge amount of money. With inflation being what it is, and the cost of goods, that's inflation, continuing to rise, $1 million is not a huge goal. Now, when I say become a millionaire by the time you're 50, I always like to ask, what do you think it means to become a millionaire by the time you're 50? And so I want you to think about that question, because I'm going to ask you to answer that question this week in your assignment. What is the definition of a millionaire? Now, if we were in class and I was asking that question, we would spend a few minutes and I would listen to students who say, I know what it means to be a millionaire. So I want you to think about, what is your answer to the question, what is the definition of a millionaire? Some students would say that you make $1 million a year. That makes you a millionaire. But that's not really the definition of being a millionaire. It's a very simple definition, actually. If you have, and maybe this is my definition, but it is the definition that I'm using. I want to be clear about what it means to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. So let me just tell you what I'm thinking when I say that. And I want you to listen, because I'm going to ask you to repeat it back to me in your assignment this week, and that's very important, learning to listen. So what I mean by becoming a millionaire by the time you're 50 is having $1 million net worth. So that means that everything you own, including your investments, your savings account, your home, your car, the assets that you own are valued at $1 million. And typically we want to have $1 million liquid net worth, which means investments and savings. And that would include your 401k at work, your checking account, your credit union account, your CDs, all of your investments. So $1 million net worth. Now, here's the thing that gets a little bit more complicated. If you're an accounting student, you know what I'm about to say, that $1 million net worth means if you have $1 million in assets, but you also have $1 million in liabilities. In other words, you have $1 million mortgage, you have a car payment, you have all these credit card bills or debts. You have to subtract your debt from your assets, and that gives you your net worth. So again, my hope, my goal, what I'm going to teach you how to do is become a millionaire by the time you're 50, which means you have $1 million net worth, which means assets minus liabilities equals your net worth of $1 million by the time you're 50. So hopefully that's clear. I'm going to ask you again to repeat that. I want to talk a little bit about 3 laws of personal finance. These are the basic building blocks of this course. The 3 laws, I'll just tell you, there's a video in your playlist, and you can see where that playlist is. If you go to uhplaylist.com, it will take you to this semester's playlist. But if you go there, I have a video called 3 Laws of Personal Finance. I want you to watch that video, listen to it, take a few notes. I want you to remember the 3 laws of personal finance. I'm going to tell you a little story, and you'll get to read this in your homework this week when you go into your online training portal, you'll read a story about Sam. Sam was a friend of mine. Him and Dr. Greg Claraday, us three guys, we would get together every Friday at Einstein's, have coffee and talk. We were all teaching. We were kind of group teaching at our church. We were teaching kind of a Bible study. And so we would get together and encourage one another, and we're just good friends. Sam, though, he was a bit odd. Sam has since passed away. He was a dear friend of mine, but Sam was a relatively small man, but a powerful man, just a character like tremendous, powerful character. And Sam was an engineer. He wore this little ring on his pinky, and I'd say, "What's that ring for?" And he was really proud of that ring. It was like an engineer's ring. I don't. Anyway, he wore this pinky. He was an engineer at ExxonMobil. He was a very, very smart guy, but he was smart in many ways. And so when I got the opportunity to teach this course 12 years ago, I naturally shared it with my friends, and I told them I wasn't anxious or worried or afraid about teaching this course, but I had a very high sense of urgency about doing it right. I wanted to teach in this course. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to be able to teach the things that would really move the needle in your life. And so I shared it with my guys and my friends, and told them what I was struggling with, asked for their input, their ideas. And Sam, my friend Sam, who's since passed, he was from Ireland, very frugal, very clear about this culture of consumerism that we live in, and his Irish background and his frugal approach and his very logical approach to life. He told me, "Jim," he said, "if you can teach them one thing, just one thing, you will be tremendously successful as an influence in their life." He said, "if you could teach them one thing." I'm like, "Okay, Sam, what's the one thing?" He said, "It's very simple, Jim. If you can teach your students that the only thing that, well, maybe not the only thing, but the thing that matters most, the first fundamental of money management is this: spend less than you earn." Sam went on to just explain how credit and debt and being buried in debt and how we live in this culture of consumerism where everybody wants to get your money in their pocket. He said, if you can just teach them how to live by the principle of spending less than they earn so that they can save for their future, if you can teach them that one thing, you will be successful. So that became the first law of personal finance. There are three of them. The first law is the law of spending and saving, which means you spend less than you earn so that you can save more for what matters most. I'm going to hope and really try to encourage you this semester to put that practice, that first law of personal finance, into action, into practice. And I'm going to ask you to consider some very simple, very straightforward goals for saving for yourself, because that is the first law of personal finance. The second law of personal finance is the law of tax-advantaged investing. So I'll talk a lot about that. I was born on April 15th, which is tax day. That's the day you have to turn in your taxes. My first son was born on December 31st, which was a blessing because even though my wife and I never even changed a diaper by my son's birthday, we got to claim a tax deduction, a tax credit. At the time, it was a $1,250 credit, which was like money in the bank for the fact that our son was born on the last day of the year. So we didn't have any expenses for our son, but we got to claim the entire year. So tax advantaged investing, that's how it works. And I'll teach you some of the most important strategies for building wealth based on tax-advantaged investing. You're going to learn that this semester. My second son, by the way, was born on October 15th, which is the tax due date for corporate taxes. So all that to say, being born on April 15th and having planned, I didn't really plan it, but my son was born, my first child was born with a tax deduction on the last day of the year. I just want you to know that tax deductions and tax advantaged investing is it's a thing. It's a really important thing if you want to build wealth. So learn those 3 laws of personal finance: the law of spending and saving, the law of tax advantaged investing, and the third law is really the most important law. It's the law of purpose and commitment. And so I'm going to ask you over the course of this semester to think about why. Why would it even matter for you to do the things that I'm going to teach you to do in the context of money management? Why would it matter? What is your purpose? What is the reason that you want to have better skills, better disciplines, better behavior in how you manage money? Why is it important? What matters most to you? And then I'm going to ask you to commit to do some things that will make a huge difference in your life. So that's the 3 laws of personal finance. We already talked about the big idea. I just want you to know again, I want you to know what I'm hoping for you, that I'm going to teach you this one thing, this one outcome in your life that's not really that big of a deal, but the alternative to you becoming a millionaire by the time you're 50, the alternative to that is you becoming like most of the people around you who are clueless about managing money, who don't have a plan, who don't follow the 3 laws of personal finance, and who end up not in a very great place. And you don't have to take my word for that. You can look around and judge for yourself. That's my goal for you, that as we take this journey this semester, that you commit to learn what I'm going to teach you with that one outcome in mind, that one very simple outcome of becoming a millionaire by the time you're 50. And then if you do that, if you make that commitment, and if you understand that's where we're going, then you'll be able to follow along in each of the assignments that I give you, that I help you through. Those assignments, each one is connected to that big idea of becoming a millionaire by the time you turn 50. And I'm pretty excited about this course and what it can do for you, but I'm more excited about hearing your story about how you're taking the steps that you need to take that can help you do what you want to do in your life. So one of the things that I always like to kind of highlight in the beginning is the idea of a financial plan means different things to different people. So I'm going to ask you, what do you think a financial plan is? I'm going to ask you that at the beginning of this semester. Today I'm going to plant that seed. And then you're going to see it in your homework. What is a financial plan? What does that mean to you? Everybody's got a different idea of what is a financial plan. And it doesn't really matter. I have a very clear definition of what a financial plan is, because that's what I do for a living as a financial planner. But I want to know what you think a financial plan is. And then I'm going to help you develop or kind of nurture the idea of what is a financial plan for you. And you're going to have an opportunity this semester to build a financial plan. You're going to have access to a powerful tool that helps you in a very simple, easy, straightforward way, helps you create a financial plan. It will teach you a tremendous amount about personal finance, but it will also give you some very practical tools to help you make better financial decisions in your life. So I'm excited about that. We've got a lot in store for you this semester, and I appreciate you being here to take advantage of it. Let me see. Okay, I'm looking at Zoom. I don't see any chats, questions. So let's jump into, I want to talk a little bit about your online portal. Your online, now I've had some questions. Students are asking, do we have to pay for this? At Money Study Group, there's a course. You have to enroll in that course. It costs, I think, $79. Again, if you missed the beginning of this video, I was sharing how I've been teaching this course for over 12 years, since 2012, so 13 years. And we started out using Dave Ramsey's content, and it was good, but it got a little outdated. And so then COVID hit, and we were required as instructors to teach online, which none of us, well, I wasn't prepared to do that. So at that time, when COVID hit, I started teaching online, which I was not set up for that. I had no experience in that, and I spent a tremendous amount of money and time and research to find the best solution to teach online. And I landed on this platform called Thinkific. It's not cheap. It costs a good deal of money for me to use the platform, but it makes this course better. And that's just one piece of technology that you have access to as you enroll in this course. But yes, you have to pay for it. No, it's not covered under CTAP. It's just not one of the publishing features that they cover. CTAP is for big publishers who print books, and this is not a course that really relies on a book. You will have access to all of my writings and my books, but it's all built into this platform, Thinkific, where the scope and sequence of the course is laid out in such a way that you get a much, much better experience as a student in the course. So if we get to the end of the semester and you don't feel like you got your money's worth, you can certainly ask for a refund. It's never happened. Because I promise you, the small amount of money that you'll pay to have access to all of this technology, in terms of what it's going to help you do in your life, in terms of managing money, will be the best investment you ever made. I really believe that. So again, do that, sign up, enroll, do that soon. The sooner you do that, the better. The sooner you get into the Thinkific platform, the more access you will have, the easier it will be for you to earn an A. So that's part of it. In the next couple weeks, you will be invited to sign up for your premium financial planning portal, which is all part of the course. So you'll get access to that through your online training at Money Study Group. All right, let's talk about a few basic things that you need to know. These are the links. I want you to just make a note. You may want to take a screenshot. playlist, that's where this, so we're live streaming to my YouTube channel right now. And the YouTube channel has a playlist. You can subscribe to my channel at Jim Munchback. Munchback has an H on the end. But in that channel, in my channel on YouTube, I have a playlist, and each semester I create a new playlist. And that new playlist is where this video, which is being live streamed right now to Facebook, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, but it will be stored or saved in the playlist that I created for this semester, for this cohort. So if you want, what you'll want to do is just kind of mark that playlist. But it's uhplaylist.com. Every semester I change the forwarding for that domain so that it goes to that playlist, this semester's playlist. You'll want to know that. Hopefully the Zoom meeting link is working. You should be able to go to uhzoom.com, and it should take you right to this Zoom meeting every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Now, Zoom has lots of cool features, and they're changing them all the time, especially the security features. So I think I have it set up correctly, but we don't have a ton of folks in the Zoom meeting right now. I'm wondering, Kendall and Gyothis, if you guys did you go to uhzoom.com to get to this meeting? Because I pasted that all into the syllabus for the Zoom link. Hopefully it worked. If it didn't, I'll hear about it. But anyway, I used the link and it worked. Okay, great. Thanks, Joseph. So that means that all the other students who are not in the Zoom room are going to watch either the live stream or they'll watch it when they have a chance. And that's the beauty of an asynchronous course. It is online and on demand. And I appreciate those of you who are here in the Zoom room. You always get a priority in terms of having your questions answered. So anyway, take a screenshot, UH playlist. That's where you'll go for all of the recordings for this semester. UHzoom.com should take you right to the Tuesday meeting, 10 a.m. every Tuesday. And then UHgrp.com, that's our GroupMe. And we'll talk a little bit about GroupMe in a minute, but those are the three kind of standard links, 3 links that you should keep in mind for this semester. And I talked a little bit about the Zoom meetings, but let me just say they're not required. And even though they're not going into the playlist immediately, like I have to go in after we finish the live stream, and I'll save that video, that live stream, in the playlist. So it'll be there at the end of the live stream. So that's that. Let me talk about GroupMe for a minute. We'll talk a little bit more about GroupMe, but we did every semester I do a survey to find out what communication tools make the most sense for this semester to help you. Really, the goal is to help you get your questions answered, but it's also selfishly to provide a way to make you responsible for asking your questions and collaborating with one another. And that's what GroupMe is for. So you should have, if you go to uhgrp.com, it will take you right to this semester's GroupMe. And I'm hoping by the end of today, you will have signed up for GroupMe. Now, you're not required to do that. Obviously, that's a resource that is put in place for you. And just like every semester up to now, I ask you to tell me, is there a better tool, a better resource, a better way for us to have a group where we can collaborate as a cohort? But here's what I'm going to ask you to do and what I want you to think about. I want you to know that when you have a question about the course, about the homework, if that question has been answered in the lecture, then you have an opportunity to jump into GroupMe and ask your question so that other students who paid attention and heard the answer to your question in the lecture, they can answer your question in GroupMe. What I don't want you to get in a habit of doing is sending me an email or a text message with questions that I've already answered in the lecture. If you do that, you get on my radar, and that tells me that, you think the easy way is just send me a text or a question. If it's a question that is not answered, that I didn't answer, if it's a question that other students have that I have not answered, then by all means, I want you to reach out to me, and I promise you I'll get you an answer. But if you send me a question that was covered in the lecture, a question that really should probably be figured out with a little brain muscle, maybe a little research, in that case, I want you to jump into GroupMe and try to get your question answered there instead of asking me, because I have a business. I'm an adjunct professor. This is not a full-time gig for me. I'm committed to helping you any way I can, and this is the way I'm going to help you. I'm going to ask you to help me by collaborating with one another. And those of you who can answer students' questions in GroupMe, I want to know about that. So you can grab a screenshot, and you'll see what we do with those screenshots in just a minute. But when you're answering questions for students in GroupMe, you get class collaboration points for that. So that's something we'll talk about in just a minute. First, though, I want to talk a little bit about I told you before, you're going to have the opportunity to build a financial plan this semester. And sometimes that gets a little tricky because not everybody's good at computers and using online tools. And if that's the case, if you struggle with that, I want you to know from the very first day that once we get into that, once we start to build your financial plan, if you have questions and you need a little extra help, you can request a tutorial video, and I will put together a video tutorial to show you how to get to solve whatever issue it is that you're trying to solve. Now, there's a specific thing you need to do when you send me the request for the tutorial. It's an email with screenshots where you show me what you need and what you're struggling with, what your questions are. And then you have to give me permission in that email to go ahead and create a tutorial and post it in our playlist. So just think about that for a minute. You're welcome to ask me to put together a special tutorial to help you solve your problem. I just need you to share with me in an email with screenshots so I know exactly what problem you're trying to solve. If you send me an email or a text and you ask me a question and you don't show me what it is you're trying to solve, that becomes a little confusing. And I'm not going to play email tag with you to try to help you figure that out. But if you want a tutorial, you can show me the screenshot of what it is you're struggling with. And again, we'll cover this in future lectures. I just want to plant the seed that I'm here to help you, but I need you to help me help you. And one way to do that is through tutorials. Happy to do extra tutorials to help any student who's struggling with an issue that can help other students as well. Okay, so that's the tutorial. Now let's talk a little bit about this special thing called the weekly secret class collaboration. Now, I don't know if you know this, but somewhere along the line, a student got the idea that when I was teaching live in class, a lot of students just didn't show up, which was kind of strange to me because I always thought you had to go to class if you were in college. And I paid for my own college, so I went to class because I felt like I was paying for it, and that was part of the deal. But somehow, over the course of the 100 years since I went to college, a few students have been very clear with me that they didn't think they should go to class, which I always thought was kind of crazy. So from the very beginning, I had these rules, boundaries, and limitations built into this course where I just said, like, maybe that class over there with that professor, you don't have to go to class and show up. But in this class, you have to show up. Well, now we do asynchronous, which means we're doing it through Zoom and live stream. And that's the way it is right now. This course is asynchronous, online on demand. But here's the thing. You are required to watch the weekly Zoom meeting. Now, if I were you, I would watch it on YouTube, and I would go to the little gear icon and I would click it for double speed because you can listen a lot faster than I can talk. And that's how I would do it. I would watch the replays. I'd watch them fast. I'd rewind when I had a question. I'd do my homework. If I had a question, I'd go back. You're going to see in this video, if you go into YouTube anyway, you're going to see that it's time stamped. So you can see the things that I covered, the topics, and when they are. And that's an extra step. It's extra work in my workflow to help you have timestamp chapters in the video. I don't know that I'll do that every single week, but it's definitely part of this week's video to have timestamps. But my point is simply that these videos, these lectures, this is where we cover what you need to know for especially if you're an A student and you want to be an A student and you're willing to do the work that is required to be an A student, then I want to make it easy for you to earn an A in this course. But if you don't want to do the work, if you don't think you need to watch the Zoom meetings, well, then I don't feel like I owe you any extra work, like to answer all your questions because you didn't watch the Zoom meeting. You have to watch the Zoom meeting. And so each week during the live stream, I'm going to say, here's this week's secret class collaboration. And here's what it is for week number 1, the assignment that is due next week at 10 a.m. The class collaboration is, what are the 3 laws of personal finance? I want you to explain that in your own words. I want you to post that in Money Study Group and just take a screenshot. Now you'll see we have lots of discussions in Money Study Group, and this week's discussion, this week's class collaboration for this week's assignment is, what are the 3 laws of personal finance? Now every week I'm going to say at some point in the lecture, it's time for this week's secret class collaboration. So I'm hoping that you understand what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to make you accountable for consuming the content that I'm creating to help you through this course, with the big goal, the big idea of becoming a millionaire by the time you're 50. So if you want to come along this journey, if you want to earn an A in the course, you have to watch the Zoom meetings. Again, I would watch them on YouTube. I would hit the double time because you can listen a lot faster than I can talk. But you are responsible for doing that. And these weekly class collaboration secrets are my way of making you accountable for that purpose. Now, please don't share in GroupMe what the weekly class collaboration is. I'm asking you. That would be like cheating, okay? Because the students who don't watch the Zoom meeting, they could call you up and say, just tell me what it is. And I get it. I probably won't catch that every time, but just please don't do that. And so let's see. That's the weekly class collaboration. Now, let me show you, let's talk about screenshots, because you will take a screenshot. You will post your comment. You can post it in YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere you want. This week, it's, what are the 3 laws of personal finance? And you can answer that in a paragraph, a few sentences, as much information as you want to give me, and you can post it anywhere you want. I recommend, if you don't like the idea of posting it on the internet, which I wouldn't want to do that, then you can post it in the portal in your Money Study Group online Thinkific portal. That is just available to the cohort, to me and the cohort, but you have to take a screenshot. So when you post that, I want you to take a screenshot. Now, this is an important piece of today's lesson, this lecture, because you're going to do this every week. You're going to give me screenshots. Now, one of the goals at the Bauer College of Business, at least my understanding of one of our goals as instructors and professors, is we want to help our students become more effective communicators. That's always been my understanding of one of the big goals that we want to do in a business college. So if you haven't learned how to take a screenshot, you're going to learn that in this course. So if you don't know how to do that, you might want to click on this section of the video and just watch the screen. I've got some very specific, very simple, very straightforward instructions for how to take a screenshot. First, though, I want you to know that a screenshot is not a picture of your screen. If you take a picture of your screen and you include that in your article, your weekly assignment, then you will get 15 points deducted from that assignment. So I'm just going to say, if I will give you a comment, I'll say, learn how to take a screenshot. That's not a screenshot. It's a picture of your screen. So it's about communication. There's so many ways that you can use your article each week to clearly communicate what you're learning. And you will see in your instructions that that's something that's important to me. It's something that you get kind of extra points for is, well, you don't get deductions if you clearly communicate. Now, in the beginning, when students did their assignments, and it's basically an article that tell me what you learned this week, I would get one big paragraph. and they were very hard to read. So I asked my students to do a little formatting to make that report, that article, something that's easy to read, that is organized well. And if you read a lot, you know how valuable that is. And I know it takes a little extra time, but I'm asking you to do it. And screenshots are part of that process. Okay, I want to talk a little bit now about something that is a problem-solving thing. It's called clearing your cache. So as we get into the semester, you're going to have issues logging in to Thinkific and logging into your financial planning portal. And I get lots of questions every semester from students who say it's just not working. I tried, and they send me screenshots and they show me, and it is not working. And I don't know if you know this, but 90% of the time, or whatever, a lot of the time when your phone isn't doing something right, or your computer isn't doing something right, if you just turn it off and turn it back on, the problem will be solved. I don't know why. I'm not an expert, but I do know that works a lot. Well, clearing your cache is also one of those things that solves problems when you're online and you're trying to do something and you keep running into problems and it just doesn't work. 90% of the time, or whatever, it's because you didn't clear your cache. So you need to know how to clear your cache, whether you're working in Safari like I am. I'm a Mac guy, or Chrome, which is another browser that I use all the time, or what's the other one? Firefox. So it doesn't matter what browser you're using. They all gather information and they save it on your computer. And sometimes when you go to log into a site, because of security issues, it saved old information and you have to clear that cache. Learn how to do that. If you're having trouble logging into something, or it just doesn't work, try that. Try clearing your cache. Now, if you get stuck and you need help, I'll be happy to help you. But that's the first question I'm going to ask you is, did you clear your cache? So that's just a little bit of housekeeping. Okay, now I'm going to jump into just a quick review of the assignments that you have coming up, and then we'll wrap it up. And if you have questions, feel free to post those questions. Did I mention that the best way to reach me is text message? So hold on just a second. Let me see. I want to. Before I do that, let me just say, if we're not connected on LinkedIn, hopefully over the semester, you will see me as a resource and someone who might be able to help you in the future. And if that's the case, one of the best ways to stay connected is LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I check LinkedIn. I wouldn't say that's the best way to reach me, though. The best way to reach me is my mobile phone. Text me if you want my attention, or email me. My contact information is in the syllabus for your benefit. Don't post it on the internet, please. But anyway, yeah, you can reach me by text message. You can reach me by email. So that's a good way to reach me. But again, if you have a question it's a pretty simple question, I would start with GroupMe. Ask the question in GroupMe, and that would save me I get hammered with emails. So if I don't get back to you quickly in an email, you can send me a text message. That's the best way to get my attention if it's important. And I will respond to those. I'll respond to the emails too, but sometimes it takes a while because I get a lot of emails. Okay, so now let's talk about these assignments. Next week's assignment, or really it's this week's assignment. And let me just say, every week, your assignments get posted. If I set everything up correctly in Canvas, you should get each weekly assignment posted at 10 a.m. So this week's assignment is posted today at 10 a.m. and it will be due. Every weekly assignment is due on Tuesday at 10 a.m. So I know some of your courses, Canvas defaults to midnight. That's why most courses are most assignments are due at midnight, just because that's the default. But there's no rule that says your assignment is due at midnight. It is your job to know that your assignments in this course are due Tuesdays at 10 a.m. And Tuesdays at 10 a.m. is when I post the new assignment for the following week. So make sure you adjust your calendar accordingly. If you turn in your assignment late, you will get 1 point. It's in the syllabus. You can check that out. Late assignments are just not really acceptable. If you're 10 minutes late, an hour late, a day late, you get 1 point. Out of 50 points, you get 1 point. If you turn your assignment in more than 2 weeks late, you get 0 points. So you get 200 points this semester for class collaboration. And I'll talk about this again next week, but I want you to know you get 200 points for participating, for keeping up, for doing your class collaboration screenshots every week. 200 points out of a 1,000-point course, 200 is for class collaboration. And if you turn your assignment in late, you only get 1 point for that assignment, but you do not get any deductions for class collaboration if you turn your assignment in within 2 weeks of the due date. So if you turn your assignment in 2 weeks and 1 day late, you get 0 points, and you get a 20-point deduction from your class collaboration. So you get 200 points for keeping up, 200 points just for participating, 200 points for, doing your weekly class collaboration, proving to me that you watched the Zoom meeting. If you do that, you'll get your 200 points, and you'll get that at the end of the semester. But if you miss assignments, you get 1 point if you're late, and if you wait until 2 weeks and 1 day, you get 0 points for that assignment, and you get a 20-point deduction. So it's an important housekeeping note. Saving is next week's assignment. It's a very simple assignment. You'll watch some videos, and you'll write an article, and you will get to do a little experiment on saving. And also, what I'm going to ask you to do this week is I want you to start tracking your spending. So it's either this week or next week in your assignment, you will have to commit to me and say, here's the tool, the app that I'm going to use to track my spending. I know most of you are already tracking your spending. You're using your bank app or mint.com or whatever, and that's great. But those of you who have not yet started to track your spending, that's part of this semester. You will track your spending. You'll keep track of what you spent this semester. And if you want to take advantage of an assignment at the end of the semester, you'll just need to do that starting now, starting this week, just tracking your spending using whatever app is easy for you. And you'll see that in your assignment. Next, we're going to do budgets, not this week, but next week. Your next assignment, you'll do a basic, simple budget, just so you can show me what it looks like for you to create this tool called a budget. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it today, but it will be one of the assignments coming up shortly. Next, you're going to do a credit report. One of the biggest things, well, I don't know about the biggest things, but one thing I've learned is that as a college student, you have this big target on your back. Credit, debt, credit cards, you get inundated with offers to borrow money. And what happens is a lot of times you have a credit report that has information on it that's not accurate because maybe somebody hacked your credit. So you're just going to do a free credit report, and it's going to teach you what is on a credit report, how your credit score is developed. It's a really good assignment, I think, but it's mostly a really good tool for security purposes, and you're going to do that in about 3 weeks. You'll do a parental interview. This is one of my favorite assignments. You're going to interview a parent, an uncle, a grandparent. You're going to ask them questions about their experience with money and life. And it's, again, one of my favorite assignments to review. So that's coming up. We'll talk much more about that as we get closer. There's a couple of assignments this semester that have to do with just being aware of credit and debt and how easy it is to get stuck in a loop where you get buried in debt. And so I'm going to show you in very practical ways. I'm going to set the table for a couple of weeks. We're going to focus on credit and consumerism and how easy it is to get lost in that consumption. Especially if you're an American, you know about the culture of consumerism and credit cards and debt. So we'll talk about that, and we'll end that session or that part of the semester with this thing called the credit crush. And that's where by then you will have built your financial plan using Right Capital, which is our premium financial planning portal. You will use that financial plan to set up a scenario where you have some debt. And I'll talk you through that as we get closer, but it's a great assignment. It is where you will get to see in very clear, very practical ways how credit card companies totally take advantage of you if you're ignorant about how it all works. So I promise you, the assignment called Credit Crush is one that you will not want to miss. It will help you take steps to be free from being buried in debt. I'm going to hurry up because we have a few things. I'm just going to tell you briefly about what's coming because these are far down the road, like weeks down the road. One is bargaining and negotiating. That may not seem like something that should be part of a personal finance course, but I promise you, bargaining and negotiating is a skill that you're going to want to learn, and I'm going to help you do that so you don't want to miss that. Insurance is a topic where I hate to even think about how I am an expert. I don't like that's not, I'm not proud of that, but if there's one thing I'm an expert in, it's insurance. I used to be a State Farm agent. I've got lots and lots of letters after my name, so I know way too much about insurance, and I can't possibly hope to teach you anywhere near everything you need to know to be a good consumer of insurance. But that's what I'm going to try to do in one lecture, and it's just kind of an overview of insurance, how it works, what you need to know, and how it can help you manage your risk. Insurance 101 is coming, and I pack way too much into that, but that's just the way it is. We could spend the entire semester on insurance and risk management, but it is a very important part of personal finance. The most popular topic of all is investing. Most students find that what I teach you about investing and the 4 investment strategies that are designed to help you maximize returns and minimize risk, starting with the perfect investment, which is your 401k. That's what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you how to become a really good investor. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to teach you 4 investment strategies that are specifically designed to help you maximize your returns and minimize risk. And you will see that these 4 strategies, these 4 investment strategies over time will give you the confidence to invest like a pro. You really will get, and I will show you how to put those 4 investment strategies into practice on day 1 when you get that job and you have that 401k. You definitely don't want to miss the investment strategies lesson. It's the most popular one, and we'll talk about that. And following that, we'll talk about asset allocation, which is one of the 4 investment strategies, because asset allocation is the single most important determinant of your portfolio's returns. That may seem like a mouthful. Let me say it again. Asset allocation is the single most important determinant of your portfolio's returns. So I'm going to teach you what you need to know about asset allocation, which includes understanding asset classes like a large cap stock, a small cap stock, international. I'm going to teach you about investment vehicles like a mutual fund, an index fund, an ETF or exchange traded fund, individual stocks, individual bonds, bond ETFs, stock ETFs, large cap stock ETFs. You're going to learn a lot about investing just by becoming familiar with asset classes. And you really need to understand asset classes a little bit in order to benefit from the 4 investment strategies that I'm going to teach you that will help you maximize returns and minimize risk. So that's all. It may sound like a lot, but I promise you it's not. If you just follow along and you come drink a nice fresh cup of coffee before you watch the lecture, and pause it when you need to and think about it, but mostly just become familiar with these strategies and asset classes. And I promise you, by the time we finish this semester, you will feel very good about your financial future when it comes to investing like a pro. And that's not going to be difficult. Next is tax allocation. So we talk about asset allocation. Remember the second law of personal finance, the law of tax advantaged investing? Well, that includes selecting the right types of accounts to invest in. And I'm going to teach you that. You're going to learn that. You're going to learn about 401k, 403b. You're going to learn about IRA, tax deductible IRAs, Roth IRAs. You're going to learn the difference between a tax advantaged account and a tax qualified account. And you're going to understand why the second law of personal finance, the law of tax advantaged investing, makes such a big difference if you want to build wealth. So that is a lecture, and it's a very important lesson. And it's part of we'll talk about your capstone, your final exam in just a minute. But the 12th normal assignment is called the blueprint for financial success. And now I'm just going to plant the seed today. I know I'm about out of time. Give me 5 more minutes. But the blueprint assignment is the blueprint. I hate to say it's optional because that gets really confusing. It's not really optional. Unless you happen to have enough points by that point in the semester where you don't need to do that assignment, then it's optional for you. So I'm going to talk about how you can earn some extra points here in just a minute. But I want you to know this assignment, the blueprint for financial success, it's the 12th assignment in the semester. And you don't have to do it if you don't need the points. But if you do need the points, you have to do it. And if you do the assignment, remember I told you that I'm going to ask you to commit to what spending tracker, what tool, what app you're going to use this semester to track all of your spending. Well, here's a key thing you need to know, and I'll remind you of this as we move forward. But when you do the blueprint assignment, that's going to require you to show me 3 things. Number 1, every expense you had, you had, everything you spent this semester, whatever tool you use to track that will make it easy, unless you tell me you're going to use Excel. Don't do that. Use your bank. Use your credit card. Use whatever tool makes it super easy and automated to track everything you spend all semester. And then at the end of the semester, when you do this assignment, the blueprint, then you'll be able to just show me every transaction you had all semester. And number 2, you'll be able to create a chart based on categories of expenses. That's number 2. So number 1 is all the transactions. Number 2 is the categories of expenses. And number 3, I'm going to ask you to tell me, what did you learn this semester about your spending patterns? So that's the blueprint for financial success. Again, most of you who are A students, you're going to learn how to take advantage of an opportunity to earn some extra points along the way, so that by the time we get to the end of the semester, you can spend all of your time on other courses that are more demanding, and you'll basically be done with this course. Because personal finance, I don't want you to have to struggle with a final exam I know you have some other courses that are demanding, so it's just my way of incentivizing you to take advantage of what I'm about to share. Before I do that, though, I want to say the Capstone Assignment, it's like your final exam. And you're going to see, as we go through the course, you're going to be creating your own financial plan. And each week, you're going to add on an element or a component to your financial plan. And as you do that, you're going to learn things and you're going to see your financial plan evolve over the course of the semester. At the end of the semester, you're just going to take all of those assignments and put them together in a summary, a capstone. And so you'll have another opportunity at the end of the semester to go back, and if you had some deductions or you made some mistakes in each of these components, you'll be able to go back and tweak them and fix them and then summarize each of those elements of your financial plan in the capstone. It's worth 200 points. So we'll talk lots about that as we go forward. So I was going to spend a little time for Q&A, but I don't see any questions in Zoom. So I'm going to jump down to early. Here we go. This is probably the most important thing I'm going to share today. I want every one of you to earn an A in this course, but the truth is 2 of you are going to fail, just get a failing grade. 3, maybe 4 of you are going to withdraw. And probably 10 of you are going to get an A minus, and 10 of you are going to get a B, and 10 of you are going to get a C, but most of you are going to get an A. And the reason you're going to get an A is because you're paying attention and you're doing the things that you do to get an A. And the number one thing you can do to get an A in this course is turn your assignment in early. So if you turn your assignment in early is Friday by 3 p.m. Central. That's when the market closes. And by then, on Fridays, when you turn your assignment in, I'm going to jump into my queue in Canvas, and I'm going to try to grade everything that's in the queue before the weekend, because I don't really want to work on the weekend. But if you want to wait until Wednesday or Tuesday to turn your assignment in when it's due at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, that's fine. If you get everything right, you will get the full 50 points and we'll be good to go. The thing is, if you turn it in early by Friday at 3 p.m., that gives me a chance to give you some feedback and to say, hey, I deducted 10 points. If you fix this, whatever it is, if you fix it and then resubmit your assignment by 10 a.m. on Tuesday and just send a little note when you send it back to me again, say, Professor Munchback, I fixed that problem and I'm resubmitting my assignment. You put that in the little note chat when you send in that second submission. When you do that, you still qualify for 10 extra points. So even though you made an error and I gave you some feedback and you fixed it and you resubmitted it by 10 a.m. on Tuesday, you still get 60 points. That's a 20% bump for early assignments. Now, why so many students don't take advantage of this, I couldn't tell you, but I hope you will. Because if you want to earn an A in this course, it's really not hard. And the best thing you can do if you want to earn an A in this course is turn your assignment in early. Now, again, if you turn it in late, you get 1 point. And if you turn it in late, more than 2 weeks, you get 0 points, and you get a deduction from your 200-point class collaboration, 20-point deduction if you miss an assignment. Okay, so you don't want to miss the assignments. You want to turn them in early. Make it easy on yourself. So that's it. I look forward to working with you guys. I know that was a ton of information. And like I said at the beginning, orientation is boring, I think. But it's necessary. And I hope I covered everything you need to know to get started in the course. And if you have questions, I'll be available. Feel free to shoot me a message. But start with GroupMe. Please join GroupMe. Get enrolled in Money Study Group. And make sure you watch every week. Check out uhplaylist.com. I will post this video in that playlist. As soon as we end, I'm going to check to see if we have any questions. I don't see any questions in Zoom, so I am going to say thank you very much and have a great day. I can't wait to see your assignments. They're due next Tuesday at 10 a.m. They should be available in Canvas right now. So we're out of time. I'm going to try to end every week's lecture by 11 a.m. And I'll be available after the lecture if students need some time to hang out. You need to join the Zoom meeting if you want to hang out with me and ask questions and talk about your assignments or any of that. This is your time, and I'm here now for you on Tuesdays, 10 a.m. But we'll generally end the lecture around 11 a.m. And for students who need to hang around and ask questions, I'll stick around and do that. So now I'm about hoarse. I need some water. I'm going to end. I don't see any questions.